I'm Tony Scott with bnetTv. We are here in Barcelona at the Wi-Fi World Summit in Barcelona for 2012. I'm speaking with iPass's Steve Livingston. How are you today, sir?
Good, Tony. How are you? Are you enjoying the conference?
I'm loving the conference. I love Wi-Fi, though, really. Not just because it connects all my devices, but it's such a good mechanism of transport.
Well, you know, one thing you can always count on is that there's this, now we've announced we hit 1 million Wi-Fi hotspots commercially around the world. So no matter where you go, I think you can find Wi-Fi, especially if you're staying in hotels and at airports and other major venues.
So let's talk about what you're doing here at the Wi-Fi World Summit.
Well, the thing that we're super delighted about, we just hosted a panel that had 3 service providers, 2 mobile operators and 1 Wi-Fi operator in countries in Latin America, South Africa, and the Middle East, who are, I think, the innovators. They're the ones who've taken a proposition, a Wi-Fi proposition, and are really the first ones offering consumers the ability to buy a roaming package. So when they're traveling around the world, they don't pay as you go. As you know, many consumers, they land at a hotel, they land at an airport, and they just keep getting nickeled and dimed to death every time they're at a new place they subscribe. Plus, it's a hassle to go through that whole process of putting in credit cards. Now these 3 companies, which is the Zain Group, Always On from South Africa, and Oi, the largest carrier in Brazil, are rolling out an offer that allows them to give their consumers, when they're traveling, a package that will be bolted on or integrated into their price plan. So for me, it's exciting to see people doing it instead of just talking about it.
So what makes iPass different from your competitors?
Well, first of all, one of the things that I think is special about iPass is we've been in the business long enough to have the relationships with over 140 networks, 1 million hotspots, which is the largest in the world, commercial networks, and it just works. You know, so one of the things about the Wi-Fi industry, I think we're still learning and evolving, is there's standards need to go a little further. So although there's some standards in place, there's enough variance that if you don't have the right formula, you can travel around the world and not quite get authenticated as easily as you'd like. With our solution, we just have a kind of a rock-solid authentication mechanism that allows people to get on the network.
What are some of those?
Well, it's a zero-click. So when you show up at a venue like this and you've subscribed to one of these iPass-enabled networks, you just automatically get on. It's a zero-click kind of game. So from our standpoint, when you've got smartphones, by the way, as we know, smartphones, the screen size are a little smaller, so to go through a whole process, to go through terms and conditions and everything like that, it's just not the same as easy as a laptop. So the zero-click really plays in nicely with the devices that people are traveling with, whether they're tablets or their mobile devices.
So that's, I got to tell you, is a huge leg up over some of the other systems that I've seen out there for sure. If I'm walking along and you've got 1 million hotspots and bang, right, it's just I'm automatically connected. That's nice for me to automatically get messages when I'm roaming.
Yeah, and you know, and we're at 1 million today, but what's nice is we're seeing the amount of investments that our current suppliers are building. The organic growth is just going to continue to shoot up through the roof, because I think everybody has seen this resurgence in Wi-Fi. And one of the things that's really driving Wi-Fi is that the #1 mobile device being sold today is a tablet. The last forecast I saw was 120 million tablets. Now, my estimation is there's probably 80 to 90% of those don't have a 3G SIM slot in them, right? So if they're Wi-Fi only, our own research shows that the mobile workforce is traveling with 2.8 devices. That means a phone, a tablet, and a laptop. And when I get on a plane, I should have done a question in there, but when I get on a plane, it seems like everybody in their seats are all with a tablet open. They're either reading or they're watching a movie.
Or they're working.
And when they get to some place like here we are in Barcelona, do they want to pay $1 a megabyte to roam? No. They just want to consume data like they're at home. And that's the other thing that's, I think, very powerful about Wi-Fi. You know, instead of modulating your behavior, when you leave home, you're being as frugal as possible just to send that one little blip of information. Now you can consume like you're at home. And Wi-Fi is very friendly for that, largely because of the pricing mechanisms as well as the bandwidth. So
maybe if some of the carriers would stop scratching the eyes out of its customers, you know, it would be a different scenario, but that's not the case.
I think, you know, one of the things being in the industry is that in the mobile industry, they have licensed spectrum, which has some bandwidth constraints. If everybody was just consuming unlimited amounts of data, it would crash the network. So they are facing the same tsunami that a lot of other people. You know, we're in a world where I think some of the mobile operators are telling their customers to go on a diet by giving them these price plans that says go on a diet. Yet the content world's quite the opposite. They're saying consume as much as you can. And so you've got this kind of clash that's occurring And I think what's nice about the 3G networks is it's ubiquitous. You're in a taxi, wherever, you're going to have it. But if you want to consume data just as if you're in your living room, why not have the network that allows you to do it? And that's where I think Wi-Fi really kicks in. To me, it's a complement. And that's why I think we saw some of the mobile operators on the panel talking about the complement part of Wi-Fi, so that, one, they can address the content demands that are occurring, but secondly, they know that there's a lot of devices out there that are Wi-Fi only. So here's the real question. The question is, do the mobile operators ignore these Wi-Fi devices that don't have a SIM card in it, or do they say, you as a customer, you are a mobile customer of mine, and I know you're carrying a tablet that has no SIM in it, but why don't I attach a plan for you and give you what you're looking for? Because I think the company that does that first is going to be the one that's disruptive and get these high-value customers who have this discretionary spending to go traveling and have 3 devices and be able to consume data. So,
or from the business standpoint, too, where the office turns around and says, hey, you know what, if you've got that kind of plan, we'll pay for it.
exactly. Exactly.
That completely makes sense. Steve, thanks for taking the opportunity to speak with us here today at the Wi-Fi World Summit. I hope we get a chance for an update again. You are well positioned in the marketplace for some great future growth. Congratulations on that, and congratulations on 1 million hotspots.
Great. Thank you very much.
I've been speaking with iPass's Steve Livingston. I'm Tony Sklar here at the Wi-Fi World Summit in Barcelona with bnetTv.